It's really quite gut-wrenching, isn't it? Because you're sort of ripping all these roots apart. Good morning, welcome back to Veg Plot. We're going to be planting all the tomatoes today. And I think this year I've got about 31 different varieties of tomatoes. Let me just put this down. But I'm also going to be planting out all melons and watermelons, and I've got 24 of them this year. These are orange yellow from Honeybell Farm. Never grown these before, so looking forward to seeing what they're like. And then I've also got some Emir melons. These are an F1, and I've grown these every year for the last few years, and these are really delicious and quite reliable croppers too, so that's good. And then finally, although they look the same as the orange yellow, these are my own saved seeds. These are sort of like an F5, I don't know if you can call it that, but I've been saving seeds for about 5 years from these, which were originally F1 Red Star. So I just save the biggest seeds, and every year I grow them again, and I find they're quite nicely acclimatised to where I am in the polytunnel. We've also got a few little cucumbers to go in. Yeah, so quite a lot to do today. I don't know about you, but I've really got into growing tomatoes over the last few years. I think I've mentioned before that I struggled for many years because I was just trying to grow them outside, and then when we had lockdown I built the polytunnel, and ever since then I've been able to grow them because outside they just get blight every single year and trash, so I sort of gave up. But this year 31 varieties. I'm really looking forward to trying all of these. This is called Amish Sherbet. It doesn't look really any different to any other tomato, but I've been assured that this is the person who gave them to me is their favourite, so I'm looking forward to that. And we've got other names like Lovely Lush and Mikado Violetto, Purple Heartthrob. That's a really good one. I grew that one last year. And then Dr. Witches, never grown that before. And then Sunrise Jazz, and they're all just such fantastic names. Anyway, I'm going to plant them not too deep in the holes. You can plant tomatoes really quite deep, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to take off the lower leaves, just snip them off with a pair of scissors, and take off any little side shoots which are appearing. So I shall just take the bottom couple of leaves off, and then that means these leaves won't be in touch with the soil, which will stop sort of soil-borne diseases potentially travelling up, but it also means I can plant them a little bit deeper, because tomatoes will root from up the stem, which you probably know anyway. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do with all of these. I'll just go through, trim them, take any side shoots out and get them in the ground. Yeah, I mean, there are lots of great reasons for growing heritage tomatoes. Apart from flavour, if you go into a supermarket you get red tomatoes generally, don't you? You might get the odd yellow one or maybe orange, but nothing much, and they're usually little tiny little cherry tomatoes. And don't get me wrong, I am growing some lovely cherry tomatoes, F1s, which are really sweet and juicy, but most of these are the bigger sort of beefsteak style tomatoes, and they really are delicious. I can't tell you, the difference in flavour is extraordinary. Okay, I'm going to get on and start planting. Enough waffling. And yeah, I'll catch up with you when I've done a few of these. So there we are, first whole side is in and done, all planted up and watered in. So just going to run through a few more of these lovely names because I'm just totally amazed by them. Like this one is Kaleidoscopic Jewel. Isn't that fantastic? So I've got a couple of those. I've got Amethyst Jewel, that's another one. I think I've got a Rebel Starfighter Prime. Look at that, it's absolute beaut. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. What's this one? This is Big Rainbow. Yeah, that's a big orangey type one, I think. This is Black Crim. This is a Hitachi cucumber. This is a white cucumber. I've grown that in previous years. That's really prolific. And then here, a label snapped, we've got two Black Beauty, they're looking good. A Lucid Gem. Now I'll try and put some pictures on the screen, but Lucid Gem, absolutely delicious flavour, but also so pretty and beautiful to look at. Absolutely amazing orange sort of colour. And then here, Sunrise, what's this? Ozark Sunrise. Oh, that label's snapped. And then another Ozark Sunrise, so we've got two of those in there. And I think most of these seeds were from either saved or seed swap, or Tomato Revolution seeds, who are online, who do good seeds, and also Nile. And I'll put links down below to these people who, you know, if you're interested in buying seeds, you can get seeds from them. Right, we're going to plant up this, the dark corner, I call it. This is in the sort of northeastern corner of the polytunnel. There's a big fir tree out the back here, so things here tend to ripen a bit slowly. But anyway, so I've got my least favourite tomatoes here. However, having said that, some of them are really good. This one is Green Zebra. It's a great name, isn't it? Imagine a green zebra. But yeah, lovely looking plant. I haven't grown it before, but it's supposed to be really nice, and supposed to rival the one which I did grow last year, which was Michael Pollen. And I grew these in the greenhouse last year, and they grow like a normal sort of tomato, very prolific, but they're sort of pear-shaped, the tomatoes. They're not your regular sort of round shape, they're pear-shaped, and they're bright green until later on in the season when they start to ripen. They start to go slightly yellowy, and you would think that green tomatoes, you know, just by nature, you know, most are red and you think green are unripe, but these are really nice, sweet, juicy, and you know, they last well on the plant as well. They hang well on the plant. So yeah, Michael Pollen are good, and I've been told Green Zebra are just as good, if not better, so I'm looking forward to trying those. There are a few others here which I haven't grown before. There's like White Queen. I think that was one that was as part of the seed swap. Galapagos Cerise. That sounds good, doesn't it? Summer of Love. You just love the name of that one. And I think, yeah, and Ciro Blackburn. Never grown that one either. So out of these 6, there's 5 that I've never grown before. So I think at the end of the season I'll do another taste test video of all these varieties and you can see what they're like. But yeah, really looking forward to this season. Right, we've just come into the last tomato. How great is that? And I'm just putting these two, I'm growing 2 of these because these are my favourite. I mentioned earlier that I do grow some cherry F1 tomatoes because, yeah, they're just so sweet and nice to snack off the vine, aren't they? So I've got these 2 here and they'll grow up, and these will just be easy just to come in and snack off. Yeah, so if you ever see them in the shops, pick up a packet of seeds and try them because they really are delicious. Let's just pop this out. See, the roots are looking about perfect, so just going to get them in there and then top that up with soil. Just gently firm in around it, and that's that done. This one here I don't actually know the name of. So you can see it's got sort of variegated foliage, these leaves, really quite pretty. And the tomatoes are really big, sort of pink, meaty, juicy, sort of slightly sweet flavour, really nice. So I've decided to grow one of them again this year. This one at the back is Brad's Atomic Grape. And I grew that one last year because Tony C. Smith, hi Tony, have you ever watched my videos? Yeah, Tony C. Smith grows them. He's a good YouTuber. You should watch his channel if you don't, his YouTube channel. And he loves growing them. But I didn't have an awful lot of success. But I think the reason was because I was growing it down that end of the polytunnel in the dark, and they just took an awful long time to ripen. When they did, they were very nice, but it just took forever. So I'm only growing one of them this year, but I'm giving them another try up in this lovely sunny spot. Then here at the back, we've got Pomodoro C. Fiorentino. Haven't grown that before. This is quite an interesting one. This is Striped Stuffer. And this one's quite interesting. It's like a red and orange tomato, but you can slice the top off where the stem is when they're ripe, and just easily just scoop out the insides, and then you can just stuff them with whatever you want, rice and etc, and put them in the oven and bake them, and they're really nice, or roast them. This is Sweetheart Cherry. I haven't grown that before, that's a new one. And we've got Alice's Dream and Loxton Lad. This one's going a bit yellow, which is quite unusual, so I think that probably needs feeding. But yeah, and I went through those over there. So that's all of the tomatoes. So now I want to get on planting the watermelons and the melons. You see, I've grown 2 in a pot. I don't actually want to plant them in these grow bag waterers 2 to a pot, so I'm just going to show you how I tear them apart, because I know this can be really quite gut-wrenching for a lot of people when they've never done it before. So if you're a beginner, you do actually have to do this sometimes, and it generally doesn't do the plant any harm. So I'll just spin you around and I'll show you how I do it. So yeah, I know this can be really really heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching, worrying, stressful for newbies. So here you go. So basically pop the plant out, or the plants out. You can see they're sort of not too tightly interwoven with the roots yet, so it shouldn't do them any harm. So basically you just cradle it in your hand, put your thumbs on the top, and you just sort of gently tease them apart in the middle, and they should just gently, be careful, part down the middle. You'll feel and hear lots of little cracking noises, and it's really quite worrying, but it doesn't do them too much harm. And you gently pull them apart, and then you see you've got 2 root balls, 1 with each plant. And as I say, sometimes that can actually help stimulate the growth of roots. Let's do another one just to show you again. So you tip it out, put your thumbs on the top, just gently crack it down the top and tease them apart. You'll find a natural division, and there you go, so you get 1 in each. Right, so let's just go and plant these into these grow bag waterers. And the reason I use these waterers is because they're made by Lock, but basically they hold an awful lot of water and a great big grow bag on top. And it means that you can, top them up with a hose, just clicks on there, fill them up with water, and they basically will stay, useful for at least a week. And then they need topping up again, so it means you can go away for a few days and not worry about it, or if your neighbours come around, all they've got to do is top them up really easily with a hose. Getting quite warm in here already. I don't know if you can see, it's about 31 degrees at the moment. Got up to 38.7 yesterday, but it's actually another really beautiful day, so I'm not complaining, it's just getting rather warm. Right, that's the last 2 F5 watermelons in, and all the Amir melons. You can see these orange strings here. This is how I tie them up, so I'll clip them into that to train them up. But you can see I've created up here these little hooks which go around this wooden beam. This is just a very strong galvanized wire, and then I can just hook the string over the little hook there, and then it supports them. So this string also, because it's not very thick twine, I've just sort of doubled it up, which gives it a little bit of extra strength. So have you ever tried growing watermelons or melons in the UK, if you're in the UK? I know I have a lot of really good people follow me from all over the world, especially America and so on. And I know, well, we're zone 9A here, so I imagine a lot of you are as well, that, perhaps you try growing them in your back garden, or I think you call it a backyard, don't you? I do find they grow better covered over something. They do like the heat. So I have grown them on the allotment in big cloche hoop tunnel. That was the first year I did it, and they grew really well actually. But yeah, they do like a little bit of warmth. So yeah, right. Let's get on and do the rest of these. Well, that's all the melons in, and watermelons, so they're all looking good. So now I'm going to get on and do the stringing up. I've put all the little metal hooks on. I just get the string, hook it over the little hook bit I created, unravel in 2 pieces. That's quite important because obviously, well, depends on the string you've got, I suppose, the twine you've got. This is quite thin twine, Mr. Twinning's twine, as I mentioned in a previous video, thanks to a friend who bought it for me. So yeah, you've got to double it up because it's quite thin and it probably won't take the weight of a watermelon to start with. Nip that off, and then what you do, or what I do, so just I say unhook one, and then I'll double it over so you've got in effect 4 bits of string, and then tie that off in just a very simple loop knot. And so that in effect gives you, you know, this extra strength rather than it just being, I have to unhook that, rather than just be a single strand, I now have sort of 2 strands sort of over the hook, adding the extra strength. So that's that, and then the other end, just I just tie them together, knot them up together. That keeps it all tidy. That's it. And then when the watermelon gets big enough, I'll get one of these clips, which I think I've shown you before. It's basically a plastic clip, and then you can see the string, this little V notch here, that clips around the string, and then you clip the actual stem in that little gap. So there's no damage to the actual plant, which I quite like. Right, that's all the strings put in for the melons and watermelons. I've done that side for the tomatoes, but not this side, so I've got to get all these trays out and then I'll get the strings in for this side at another time. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed that video. Hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye for now.